Good morning, Detroit.
Good morning. What's up, Detroit?
Hey, what's up? How's everybody doing out there in TV land?
Well,
I'm messing with Joe this morning, y'all. I'm sorry.
we're good. We're good. What's up, everybody?
Blistery, chilly morning for the last couple of days.
Blistery.
Right?
It is
Ooh.
biting.
I heard the hawk and his cousins yesterday. They were rattling up against my window.
Yeah.
Ooh, but it was stay warm, everybody, because it's hunkering down to start to get chilly. We're upon the holiday season. We're upon Christmas.
Everything is going like everything, and all the other things that's happening, which is a lot of things happening.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Our president got impeached. Well,
They're still working on the exit
yeah.
paper. They're giving him an exit strategy.
Yeah.
Hopefully he can be quiet while it's happening.
And Detroit is continuing to lift itself up, and we're trying to get into the flow of it.
That's
we're
right.
trying to flow. There's a lot of little things going on. We got maybe a few things we can talk about.
Yeah.
This weekend, we got the holidays coming up, so we may be dark next week, but we'll probably be back the week after. We'd be dark in the sense that we'd probably do a replay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I'm feeling really, really excited about this season for some reason. I was talking to my family. I was like, I don't know. It's just something about the energy of this year for me. It's just, I'm so excited about 2020, and I don't know if it's just because it's 2020.
Well,
it just sounds good.
That's good. I mean, that's a good feeling, because everything goes off of how your vibe is. If you got that vibe rolling, then I used to get up like that. 1,000 things to do, run at all of them at the same time. See, so right now it's like in the beginning of next year, ending this year out. Got a lot of little space to try to create some space to make something happen.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But I'm feeling like that too. I'm feeling
Are you
good.
really?
Oh
Yeah.
I mean, it's an energy, and I think it's coming just like you were talking this morning about the kids. When you start seeing those kids and start and understanding, okay, that's a quest.
Yeah.
We can work this quest.
Yeah. I went to Dime. My daughter is a student, of course, as I said. But at Dime, they had the end of the year concert where all the performers, the ones that are in the school that audition for the end of the year show, or end of the semester show is what I'll call it, for winter break, was out, and they were all performing. And man, I was blown away at the talent. There was rock groups, and then there were hip hop artists. There was a rapper there. There was several singers, several R&B singers, but several pop singers. And oh my God, I was just so excited about the music that they were performing, and to see them. Actually, I was so proud, because I felt like we're doing a job. We're actually creating a legacy, and they're inspired by it, and they're actually moving in that direction now to become entertainers and performers. And these are first and second year students. My last thought when I left was like, Detroit is in good hands.
Yes, it is. And the thing about it that I like about it is that they're having the opportunity to express themselves. When I first saw it, I didn't understand the concept. And this was when I first got here. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago now. And it just, and I kind of, I have to see things through the eyes of how I came up, and the thing that's different here in Detroit now is that when I was coming up, you can look around and walk around and be around a million things going on all over. These kids don't have an opportunity to do anything except for social media and regurgitated stuff from the past, and not really being able to tangibly put their hands on what's going on or visibly see what's happening, but they have the ability to conceive and get a concept of a lot of things. And then what it does is giving them an opportunity to have a comfort zone for however they want to express themselves, and I see a lot of what I long to do, by watching them, and I don't want to. I want to be more of a a barrier rather than being someone saying you do it like this or you
Right.
do it like that.
Right.
I could tell you the wrong way to do it. We can get all of that because when you're being creative, that's just it's limitless.
Right.
You know, there's
Right.
no walls. There's nothing that can limit you because you might come up with a Whitney and you know you
There
can't
you
do
go.
that.
See, oh my God, right? That's something true because I truly believe that each moment in creativity is a unknown experience. You get what I'm saying when I say that? I
Right.
mean that creativity flows in the moment, so you don't dictate what's happening. You let the creativity take over and become what it is for all of us. And I mean, that's how we've gotten the Whitneys and the Michaels and the Princes and the Arethas, you know? And it's because they've allowed that creativity to be the genius at that moment and not themselves in terms of their mental thinking, but they just to let the energy flow from them in creativity, and that's always a wonderful thing.
Always.
It's like when working with you in the studio. You guys should see Joe in the studio when we're working because it is in the moment,
Yes.
you know, and
yes.
what I mean when I say that is, you know, we'll have a line set up and then, you know, we'll be working on a song and Joe's like, we got to take a break. And I'm like, why we got to take a break? And he's like, because we're thinking too much.
Yeah.
We got to stop thinking and just let it flow from your spirit.
Yeah, you get a brain lock and you be looking for something that a road that hasn't even been built yet.
Right,
You
right.
you're recreating, and I learned that especially when I was doing some stuff with Norman Whitfield,
Yeah.
and we were going to do a song that had probably been re-recorded before, and he would never give us an opportunity to prepare for it. You know, we come in the studio, and we knew he was cutting. He had a lot of tracks cut.
Yeah.
So we said, we're going to go with this one today. And we went in there, and he'd be in there with it. And so all of a sudden, he's got your mind in a place where you start saying, okay, how am I going to make a difference from what I know about this? I went through that with, the hardest time I had was with Smiling Faces, but but then that was the beginning of my intervention with Norman Whitfield. You know, so he was coming at it from the get. He said, we got to get a hit record.
Yeah.
He said, don't think. He said, because you ain't gonna never know what it is. It's about the effort that you put in it,
Right.
and how you prepare yourself to be able to be prepared. Because if you put a lot of stuff in your mind, it just clogs your mind. It's like you're sitting there with a guitar player and he's playing a lick, and another guitar player come and start playing. It's, oh yeah, those two things go together. See, one thing creates another thing,
Right.
but you have to be your own thing.
Right.
You
That's
know,
right.
it's like George, and there
That's
he is,
right.
creating my own thing.
Somebody, we need a band. We need a band for Joe. We got a band.
Yeah, so you get those vibes, and like I said, when we did a song, I remember we were coming off a tour. We were on tour with the Jackson 5, and we were doing a cover of "Feeling All Right."
Okay.
And Norman picked some of those songs because he saw us doing them live on the shows. He said, I don't want a studio version of it. I want you to just do what you did live because that way I don't have to tell you anything. And boom, we went in the studio and I had musicians and who all of them who basically could sing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the girls, of course, they were very good. And when that song started kicking off, everybody was already in it. And one of the guitar, I want to say and another,
Yeah.
And so Norman said, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So and it wasn't pre-planned. It just happened, and the spontaneity from one person to another
Right.
becomes infectious, and then everybody starts rolling, and then you got a way to go. And then after that, it's about just the sweetness and cleaning it up and making
Right.
those things work.
Right.
But those kids, it is a whole different kind of joy.
Yes,
You
it
know,
is.
when you're
It
working with
is.
them, I mean, like when I watch your daughter, even just seeing her at those church programs, I was like, Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
It's
It's something, isn't it? It's like it's to me, it's just amazing to see how they take their own journey.
Right.
They still come back for the help and the guidance, but they
Right.
take their own journey, and that alone for me made me feel confident about the future of what's happening in Detroit. Almost like you can just breathe a sigh of relief and let go.
You let it go.
Awesome. It was so awesome. And I think that's part of what's inspiring me for 2020 is because I know the next year I want to delve a little deeper into working with young people in terms of music,
Right.
and producing and production. And so I'm just really, really excited, and seeing them made me just like, yes, I'm on the mission. I'm on the right path.
Well, I had a conversation when I was in California with my daughter, who has has a school there that she teaches. All the access and the forms of acting and performing and being on in film and things that you can use in every step of the way. In other words, there's a right way and a wrong way to express yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
And just talking about the things that we were doing and what we want to do, she was asking me, well, Dad, I want to go back home and do something there too. I want to be bi-coastal.
Okay.
So and see, that's what perks me up, because the gateways and the doors from one thing to another thing, have always been there. Now, car wash, I was supposed to have been a part of that film, but I was so focused on, I had a hit record, I was in the music, I don't want to step over there yet,
Right.
and Norman was saying, okay, well, okay, it's your prerogative if you don't want to do it. I was like, but you know what? I don't have any regrets, because that's what's a part of the flow that was going on. Because Gwen Dickey brought her in, and she was expecting to be with the Undisputed Truth.
Okay.
So
Like, what? This is the Undisputed Truth?
Yeah, she was every day with these guys, and they working on car wash, talking about a car. And she was saying, she called me one day and
This is
said,
not
can
much
we
messaging
meet?
in there, right?
She said, I come out here all the way from Florida to be in a group with this big time producer, and I'm singing about a damn car wash.
Yeah,
And,
but that's part of the journey. They got her to the next journey. Now she can stand on her own. You know what I'm
telling
saying?
you.
I mean, she's got a thing.
Got it.
I've been watching her on Facebook,
Facebook, yeah.
YouTube, and yeah, she's got her own thing. Something to be very, very proud of.
Well, we talked about it when I was there the last time, and we kind of laughed about it, because you never know where a door is going to open.
Right.
You never know who may see you or hear you. You never know how you will end up seeing yourself and say, oh, I like doing that. I want to do, car wash was so spontaneous. All those scenes when we got involved with it, they weren't there.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor happened to just coming along, and Norman said, yeah, if we can do this, and we get Richard Pryor, we get the Pointer Sisters, woo, 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 and all those things just fell into place. And when you talk about the cast of characters that was in there, like Franklin Ajay and Professor Irwin Curry and all those guys.
Yeah.
I think about them today, and if I was just going to conversate about it, it would be a very hard conversation to have, because they were spontaneous.
Right.
The little conversations that I had with Bill Duke and all those folks, what's his Huggy Bear?
Oh, yeah.
All those guys.
Yeah.
All those personalities made life happen to that movie.
Wow.
So and then when Gwen see it today, say, I said that, and well, I understand, because she was looking at all the love songs and the things that normal Gladys Knight, she was looking at that, so you put your mind in one place, and being creative, you can be coming from the back door.
Yeah.
So there's really no preparation except just being prepared to be able to express yourself in those kind of, especially impromptu in the moment.
Yeah, just being open for whatever's coming for you. See, she probably never knew. She's like, this song ain't gonna go nowhere. And that's like one of my favorite songs. I don't know how many times I've sang that song on the gig.
Really, it's a classic. It is a classic. Yeah, it is a classic.
Really, really great song. And then she's touring right now, right?
Well, she's in Europe and wants to come home. So she was like, "What we gonna do?" And I said, "Well, if you got that in your plans, then we can certainly set some things up." So we've been talking about doing some things and coming back here and doing some recording and getting a fresh start. So all those things. That's what I'm saying. I'm in between the end of the year and the beginning of next year,
Yeah.
you know, it's that little point in time to be able to think, say, okay, I got to figure this out. So that if we can take time to get it started, because we got to start recording.
Right.
You know, we take time and get it started, then we can flow with it and be able to do the things that we need to do in between what we're going to have to do.
Right.
You know, and yeah. So next year, I'm just looking for a lot of great things next year to be able to be busy. You know, and getting, you know, my legs, you know, ready to start doing the things that we do, to, you know, what we do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, we've had a pretty decent. We've had a good year, Joe.
We had a,
I mean, look, we put the CD out, right? We put the CD out in January.
It's been a year.
And yeah,
Almost
it's been a year, and that's something. Ooh, we got an anniversary coming. But we put the CD out, and Truth Gonna Set You Free.
Right.
You guys can still go pick it up on Amazon or
CD
Spotify, CD Baby,
Or go to the
everywhere.
Undisputed
You
Truth.
find it, and you can go to our website and the www.therealundisputedtruth.com.
That's right.
And, you know, take a listen to it. You don't have to just take a listen to it. And, you know, music is unlimited. So just go listen to it. I guarantee you're going to like it. But I was looking back on the journey of starting the CD and being here now. I'm so excited about what's coming for the next project.
Oh, yeah.
But even more so, it kind of set a standard for music again in terms of messaging.
Yes.
Today I was listening to Take a Vacation from Life and Visit Your Dreams. And my thought for the last few days have been, you know, subject and context of lyrics and songs.
Right.
So today I went online and I was trying to look up the Detroit rappers because I'm a hip hopper, right? I love hip hop.
Okay.
I love rap. And so I was listening to the rappers and I was like, although I appreciate everybody's talent, I just wasn't feeling the messaging. You know, we grew up with, you know, child is born with a state of mind, born to the voice of mankind. We grew up with rap that had
Substance.
social context.
Yeah, right.
And so there was just so much missing in that. So I'm going to challenge our hip hoppers to come up with something that's a little more challenging for our community, Detroit community, but the black community more or less than anything, because we have to start thinking about that in terms of lifting ourselves up and where we're going for our future. But take a vacation from life and visit your dreams is an everyday reality for me. I'm telling you, I'm trying to get closer to the dreams.
Right. Oh, yes, and you got to live them.
Because life can be shocking at times.
It can be shocking and
Dealing with so many things, losing our young people, our young men. You know, I'm looking at every day on the news, and just Detroit alone. It'd be great to wake up one day and not have to turn on a news broadcast about somebody being shot. But, you know, we got to love each other better. You know, there's nothing more important on this planet than what we do for each other and how we connect with each other. And if we do it in love, the gun won't have a place in our society anymore.
That's right.
You know, we got to think about self-preservation, people, because we are slowly diminishing. And the reason I say that, I'm sorry, that was just my own rant.
It's all
But
right.
I said that because my daughter, more than one, they're young African American women, and they like to date black men, and there aren't many to date. And the sad statistic is that, unfortunately, a lot of them are incarcerated or just really aren't interested in black women anymore. And for me, that is like, you know, whoa, what happened? You know, can you help me with that, Jim?
Well, you know, I mean, and it's, listen, I have daughters, and I see that, I understand it, but being a guy, you know, and looking at it from that point of view, I always say that there's always somebody for somebody.
I agree.
So
Yes.
I would always say the best answer is to be the best you
Yes.
that you can be, because everybody,
Yes.
somebody gonna see that you in you if you know who it is.
That's right.
And you expressing yourself, and then it'll click.
See, look at Joe. See, I tell you, he's the best, right?
Well, I mean, you
that
got,
was the perfect answer.
well, we trying to listen. I was with Norman Whitfield, and he used to say, anything we riding, he said, anything you think
That's so
about,
true.
figure out how it's gonna end and what you're gonna be doing when you're doing it, so you won't be shocked or surprised. And he said, you never know
Yes.
the what the bottom feels like nor the top.
Yeah.
He said, but when you smile after you do it, or you get involved and you smile, he said, oh yeah, then you know that experience have did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you
yeah.
felt that. And, you know, it's like lemon burn. I have to
Oh, you gotta
give
love
you a
it.
little clue.
Listen here. So I've been going through this thing, right, Joe? Like the sinus,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and I went out of town, so I ran out of my lemon burn, and it's
Okay.
like almost a week after I haven't taken my lemon burn, I can't get rid of this sinus infection. So I'm gonna go and get some more lemon
They
burn.
just got a new batch.
Oh, nice.
New batch,
Nice.
yeah, new batch.
So you guys don't know about lemon burn. Lemon burn, it's a drink, but it's more organic and healthy for the body to help you eliminate the toxins out the body.
Right.
All the bad stuff that we put in, it will help you clean your system out realistically. And when I started taking it 2 months ago, I was not sick at all. No cold, no sniffles. And I work with little kids, and they're always sniffing and chewing. And so, but I ran out of my lemon burn, so I got to get me some more lemon burn. You guys can call up to the station to find out how to get it here at WHPR.
That's right. There's the
And
numbers right there.
you got the number, Joe?
Right in front of you.
Honey, you're going to have to read
Oh,
it.
313-868-0342.
Mm-hmm.
So those are on airlines numbers. Or just you watching TV 33, you can Google it.
Yeah.
And someone at the front desk will be
That's right.
there to accommodate you with your lemon burn. In fact, I'm going to get me a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's healthy.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It is really, really good for you.
Very
It was, I'll say it's the drink that I make, but it has extras like the rose hips
Right,
and things
right.
like that in it. That's really, really good for you. And if you don't use it for anything else, just use it to clean your system, and it works.
It works.
I can speak for it as a testimony myself. And so where are we going now, Jill?
Well, you know, we were talking about some of the things that were going on, especially with the kids here in town. But there are a few other things that are happening too. Of course, I'm going to the Spider Turner thing
Right.
for the Christmas party.
Right.
You know, and I wanted to talk about Kim Weston.
Okay.
Kim Weston just had a birthday party. I wasn't able to make it. We were working, and at the Northern Lights.
Okay.
So I didn't make it. My apologies, but I want to say happy birthday to Kim Weston,
Yes.
and have another great year. Motown 60. You know, we have some of those strong folks that were really involved in making Motown what it was, and they're around. So we give them an opportunity to sit back and savor the accolades that we're going to put upon them. You know, and that's Henry Gaines
Okay.
from the Originals.
Oh, wow.
Last
Yes.
that's my friend. I wanted to say
Okay.
a happy birthday to
Yeah,
him. You know,
yeah.
It's-
That's all right.
So I mean, it's just
That's all right.
some Motown folks. You know that, and next year we're going to be a little bit more organized in the sense that we're going to have a script for our show, so that so we can acknowledge folks that are celebrating birthdays and things like that, and we're definitely going to be on this phone because I
yeah.
got a lot of folks saying we want to call in
And talk to us.
talk to us.
Okay.
We want to be kind of what we're doing now is trying to put the framework down for what we do,
Yeah.
and how we want to go about doing it, so that people out there that have some of the same ideas, we can collaborate, because I'm willing to bring my contribution, and that means that I'm willing to be a part of everybody else's contribution, because
yeah.
it's going to take a little of this and a little of that. I'm not all of what I want to do, but I want to be involved to the extent that it's going to be fruitful and helpful to the kids that we're going to be dedicating what we're doing. Like I
Right.
said before the other week, I'm not trying to I had all the popularity that a guy can have in a lifetime, a career, so right now I think that the value is being able to really give back, you know, to be a part of something and dealing with kids that really want to learn. And we be a part of something, and just watching those kids, just watching your kids, you know, I see them. I was like, I never thought about what I look like getting ready to do stuff and preparing, and then when you sit around, and you see folks doing things, you say, okay, you know, you
I
can't see
remember
the
when.
right, yeah, you can't see the end. Your daughter say, I want a guitar. I was like, oh, okay. Here's a
Yeah, see, I
guitar.
could be a Joe brought my daughter her first instrument when she was about 2. She's 19 now, but when she was about 2, he brought her a little guitar, and she used to call him Bob.
Call me Bob. I was like, Daisy, who's Bob?
I was like, the only thing I could think is just the 3 letters, and
Okay.
so that's what
Okay.
rolled with it. But yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
I'm so with you on that.
and how it has evolved, you know. And every time I see her doing something, both of your daughters, I just smile. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you know. But what the real thing that that affects me is knowing that I was a part of an era where there were a lot of youngsters being involved, and at that time we got involved. We started with Kenny Martin, Carl Carlton when he was little Carl Carlton, and just before us was Sugar Child Robinson. We was coming, and all of us was the young talent, you know. And my first introduction into it was, you know, with the WCHB talent contest, which was basically a lot of young kids. I mean, I know there were a lot of the Smokey was involved in it. It was one of the groups that he was in, and some older groups that was in there. But it gave us youngsters, because we had all those recreation centers around the city at that time. You know, so we would go to different recreation and be challenging everybody every week or every other week, and for the first 5 or 6 weeks, we were standing tall with everybody. They would always pick 3 groups, you know, and those 3 groups would always go. Those that had not been picked to be in the 3 would go to another place where it would be amongst other folks that had always on the front line. So every week, somebody that was unbeaten had an opportunity to step back. And we just kept stepping up until it was down to the last 3.
Wow.
And the last 3 was Willie Tyler and Lester, the Spinners, and the group that I was singing with.
Wow.
And and then a few years after that, maybe 6, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years after that, we were all at Motown.
Yeah, so I'm saying they were all hits, all hit groups right there.
Yeah, all at
You know,
Motown.
even Willie Tyler and Lester. I remember that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, well, it's true. Willie Tyler was he was all over television.
Yeah, he was.
Ed Sullivan, all those places, and I was like, okay, Dick Clark, you know. But that was the fruit from the labor.
Yeah.
You know, and I see so much talent today here in Detroit, and by me not being directly involved, but just from viewing it, I always think, okay, when these folks leave tonight and go home, you know, and they roll around and ravish in that moment, what's next?
Yeah.
You know, we always knew, because there was always something that set you up for the next thing, you know. See, so I felt like that there was, okay, how do we not let them off the hook? How do we keep them hooked so that they can go from this to that and then to whoever they're going to end up being? You know, but I mean, I feel like that, okay, well then, okay, everybody's not thinking like that, but I felt like that was something that needed to be in that equation. And because, I mean, I would wake up and ask, what are we going to do? Something always came up back then, you know, and I went to a lot of places when I was younger around Detroit that I have never been before, as long as I've been in Detroit. Wyandotte. I went to Wyandotte with us. Now, I've never been to Wyandotte since until I had that record out in 1950 something. And we were going out there with Keener, WKNR, and all those record hops out there with white guys, the white record stations, or radio stations, and we were part of the record hops, and you know, so we would go out there and do those little record hops, and but there was always something. So I see a lot of folks, you know, that are struggling, trying to do things, you know, but there's no end. You know, in other words, there's, okay, if I can get past this, if I'm gonna do something at the African American Museum this weekend, and people see me, then what do I
what's
have
next? What's
You
coming
know,
next?
we had Frantic Ernie Durham, we had Martha Jean, we had all those disc jockeys, Larry Dixon,
Yeah.
Butterball, all those guys that were really responsible for the talent being able to be progressive back then. So there was always something to do.
Yeah,
you know.
And now a lot of young people have that resource. However, it's just in different cliques.
In cliques,
So,
yeah.
I mean, you have the gig clique.
Right.
Then you have the clique of the artists that are entrepreneur artists, where they're developing their music and they're in the studio and they're recording, but you don't necessarily get to see them perform. Then you have the students that are performing and doing everything through school and through education and performing, but a lot of times they end up doing the shows and whatnot for free because they're in it for the artistry of it and in creating and in learning. And then you have the other circuit that is just the circuit of the people that everybody know.
Right.
So, that would be people like Thornetta and,
Right.
and it's just different branches of entertainment. So there are cliques and there's always something going on. However, when you have people like back then we had Martha Jean, like you were just saying, and the different places to go to, we need those resources again. We need those additional resources.
Well, we need to be
provide
able
that.
to take what we know from the energies that we had when we had those resources, because, I mean, we're speaking on a level now because we know the scene of all the folks that we know.
Right.
And
Right.
most of us have come from back in that era. But you see, these kids don't have that. They got that wall there, and they don't know what's on the other side of that wall. They, when they go and make that first, like you saw your daughter and them at that other thing. I mean, I wish I could have been there because I know what that feels like.
Yeah, man.
You
Ooh,
know?
and I thought about you. I was like, Joe would be so excited if he was here because you
my.
would get to see, and it wasn't just the young people singing up in front, but the band, man.
Everything.
Everybody had a
Role.
I was so proud. I'm telling you, they all had their role, and they were acting in their role as professional singers,
Professionals,
musicians,
right.
and they understood. While they were performing, I could see them learning because they were interacting with each other and they were just improvising in the moment, and
Right.
that was really good. So that's something that we've taught them, that they have to be able to hit it right
Hit
on
it.
the dime
Boom.
and just
Yeah.
make it happen. But what people like even this station WHPR,
Right.
being a resource that's viable for young people to be able to come and learn, or maybe even having a space here to rehearse or practice or do jam sessions or things like that. When you have the space and it's community oriented,
Right.
then I really believe this is a place where they should be able to come to perform, put on shows, and have it
Showcase.
done on a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis.
That's right.
So that there's always the what's next happening. Just like when they had, because I was a fan of The Scene
Right.
and the new dance
That's
show,
right.
and I was religious watching them every week. And every time they came on, I was sitting right in front of my TV, channel 62, trying to watch it and see what was going on. And so that was a resource for people to come and be able to use, to be able to exploit their talent and create their celebrity, as we see now. And a really, really good resource. But when we have places like this, as entrepreneurs or black business owners, we should consider that just for the sake of the future, and also developing the new path so that they can have a place to grow. It's almost like Sean's generational wealth. I truly believe in that generational
Right.
wealth program, because if we don't start talking about it now, then, where does it go?
Right.
Where does it go? It's almost like Homegirl was saying, Miss Harvey, about what's going on in Flint. And if she doesn't expose it, then what? So we all have to take a leadership role in creating the paths for the future with our new generation or our younger generation, even if it's entertainment, if it's in politics, if it's in sports, whatever, if it's in law, however you see fit. We need to be able to be the source, since we are here to create that resource for them now.
And that we is not just us. That we is all of us. It's,
Right.
All of our
Right.
community. Because if we don't think about it, let me think about it like this. When I left here with Motown in 1972, I went to California. And if you do your research now, you can see exactly the kind of wealth that industry, that from coming up from where we were coming from at that particular time to nothing to Motown in its height,
Yeah.
how well it did for us as a people, how many of us were able to come out of all of the trials and tribulations that we were growing up in. You know, now if I was hanging out and I was going somewhere, I'd have to go to the barbershop. I go to the barbershop, and then everybody's sitting in the barbershop talking, you know, the guys sitting there. I was like, you know what? We had everything then. We had skating rinks, we had bowling alleys, we had dance clubs, we had all kinds of activities. We had Brewster Center, Considine, all those things all around the city, because those folks who planned the city did some real planning, not those folks that are planning right now, because it's all about a dollar.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't have that dollar, then you're not going to be in this city.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because that's basically how it's setting up. You know, you don't see those things that folks need as far as recreation circumstances is concerned. Everything is monetized. You know, but I mean, a neighborhood, I mean, you can't replace it with just,
No.
you see, it's got something that folks have to live, you know, and that's just the in-depth thinking that, you know, I have, because I know that when this career is over, you know, and like I say, my career like that is for all intents and purpose is over, except that now I know what I'm going to do.
Right.
When it wasn't over, you asked me what you going to do. I'm going to do the next thing, whatever it is.
It's coming my way.
I'm doing it. Yeah, I'm going to do it, you know. And it can get like that again. I'm looking at Ronnie Isley, and I'm following him, you know, and a very few of those folks that are left, you know, from the era that I started out in, because the Isley brothers, wow, they were doing the same thing that they're doing it now, and you know, and you see that, wow, is it sustainable? You know, but it is something that can spawn a whole lot of different careers. And when I was going to refer back to what my daughter was talking about, she said, "Dad, I'm not just talking about acting per se, but you know," she said, "I want to teach everything." You know, the behind the scenes, you know, so because everybody can't act. She said, like, you know, you told me everybody can't sing.
That's real, though. But there's so much talent out there. And like you and I talked about before, there's so many things you could do in entertainment. You don't necessarily have to be in front of the camera.
You don't have to be in front
of it.
You
could be in production.
That's
you know,
right.
you could work.
Like Sean.
You can work the studio back there. Like Sean doing. He does a great job every week. Thank you, Sean. Well, he does a great job every week. But he's also into other aspects of entertainment, not just with the production. He knows all those, and you extend your arm, find out what works for you, and then, you know, but having someone like your daughter teach it.
And we want our kids to know stuff that they can, you know, be something to say, this is what I do. You know, wherever you go, you can go do that. You know, Detroit is different. Carrie Frazier. I had the pleasure of being in his facilities. Now, we were talking earlier about having a place, you know, just like this, and other places where kids can go, you know, for whatever the reason is, and then be able to do things. He's got facilities, and we're talking about doing some things over there, you know, where we can be able to, even for this show, we can go to his facilities, set the set up, do the show there, and have them perform, bringing the set back here, put it on air.
Oh, yeah.
You know, see, so everything.
A collaborative community.
Yeah, but you see, it's like steps. See, right now, like I say, when I do the seminars at the Dime, I see those kids in class, and that's just for that one day. And of course, they got a little excitement thing going on, because, you know, we in there, and they, you know, okay, so they want to show off, and that's good. But it's a daily thing, and sometimes I slide in and see them, and they be in the same mode, you know, on their own, and in different little groups and sections and things, doing their thing. And I was like, you know, this is great, because no one's is actually physically telling them this place or that place. They're guiding them and allowing them to be able to participate in making something happen. It's like when we were talking, I was like, you know, I used to be a band leader. You know, I mean, and let me tell you something. People talking about,
Ooh, baby, it's a job. It is a job.
Lord
Ooh.
have mercy. You know, but I was young, and all the bands that I was a part of, I had to be the leader because a lot of guys didn't want to do it.
Right.
You know, so that was one of the things that I took on, and I mean, I booked dates back in the early 60s, 64, 65 with the Funk Brothers. I mean, they weren't called the Funk Brothers then. They was Earl Van Dyke and the trio, Rudy Robinson, all those guys. I did dates with them, and I would go and hire the bands.
Okay.
You know, so wherever we would go, you know, it was with band, and folks would come and see. I was with the Peps then and see us playing somewhere, and they'll see us with that band. They said, "You're gonna bring that band? We can. We could bring that band. All you had to do is pay them." You know, and many of those dates we had Jameson and all those guys on those dates. You know, but now it's we right at the cusp of something that is fixing to change, you know, and I'm feeling that, you know, and I'm seeing it, you know, I'm like, okay, how do I fit in? You know, so it's not hard. It's just
you're already fitting. You're already in.
Right.
You're already in. It's like you don't even have to worry about fitting in.
Well,
You're
that's that
already
old anticipation. You know, you want to know before you do it. You know.
Yeah.
But I'm getting it, and it takes a little bit of patience sometimes because you know I'm used to being able to see it, do it. You know, so now, you know, it's a little bit more than just saying do it because I know that you have to have tools.
Right.
You have to have space.
Gotta have the ducks in a row.
You got to have them in a row.
Yeah.
You know.
And know, you know, like you were also talking about with the show and having different things set up so that you can work without a pause.
Without a pause.
You know, my thing right now is looking for a place where we can provide that for the youth, even if it's like I said, every other week or somewhere, something like that, to be able to showcase them because you're right. We do need a platform for the young people to come in and perform on a weekly basis so people can come and see them.
Right.
And that'll build up the energy and the anticipation. And I guarantee you, before you know it, there'll be so many people will be looking for room at the Fox.
That's right.
Because that's how many people will want to be in the show. And I know that just by seeing some things that have been created in other avenues.
Right.
You know, things that I've done maybe or some other people have done, and you see how many people show up and you're like, whoa, they're hungry for this. So it's time.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily that it has to be led by the name people in the city, but we got to introduce our local unknowns that have this super talent.
Yes.
You know, regardless to if they're doing culinary arts or whatever art that they do. I mean, it's huge.
It's huge. Yes. And then, like I say, you got to have the tools, you know, because to be able to do more than one thing that can help you and help you do one thing that really doesn't have that much to do with what you do can help make what you do better.
Yes.
Because you understand that there's always a curve where you have to be prepared. And getting prepared means you have to look at the whole total picture. What am I doing is going to be a part to make this pie work, and I can still be on the plate. I ain't just cut around the edges and say, well, we ain't using that part of the crust. Though.
We gotta use. We don't use it all. I like the crust. You like the crust, Joe?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, you want it to look good.
Renee, you like the crust? I like the crust.
Right. You get a little thing and cut it off, and then you push that to the side. But
yes,
we want to be able to use it all.
It's all necessary. It's all valid, right? So I know we're about to wrap up our show in a second here, but it's been a great year, Joe. So I'm looking forward to what we come up next with the next series of shows, and I'm just going to call them the series of 12 because we're going to leave them in 12.
Okay, right. Okay, yeah.
The series of 12.
Series 12.
So I'm looking for the next series of 12. And I'm really, really excited about having some of the people. We got Thornetta scheduled to come and show up on the show with us. We're going to have our one of my good friends, Miss Carla Pace, come and join us on the show. And then I'll probably get some of those young people in and let you guys see what they've been doing at Dime and talk about their experience and just really kind of do like a show overview for them so that you can start to meet them. Young lady that I've met, her name, you've probably seen her on Channel 4, her name is Marquette Winston.
Okay.
And she's another vocalist, acoustic, she plays guitar and she sings. But her father was actually one of the guys that was in the group Kiera.
Okay.
From in the 80s,
Okay.
and
I
the talent just
performed
like
with them. Yeah.
just swooped right down to her.
Right.
And so she's doing some new things too, and I'm just really excited about what's coming up. So
Right. McKinley Jackson, I spoke with him a couple of weeks ago. We were hanging out at his brother's birthday party, and he was saying that he was talking to Eddie Holland.
Okay.
And he was telling Eddie about the show, and Eddie was like, wow, I'd like to come and do that show. He's got a book out.
Oh, wow.
And he was like, but I don't want to come in the snow. I don't want to get off the plane and get in the snow. I understand that.
Yes.
But just the fact that the doors are open to a lot of folks. Oh, I spoke to the Vandellas, and I can't do anything in this on this without bringing the Vandellas in, because
Yes.
that unknown product or that unknown event that happens in your career that you
Yes.
don't plan, the Vandellas, when I was 10, 11, and I had a record out, Rosalind and Annette.
Okay.
And
yeah.
it was about, I guess they had about a 5-man group. Then had a couple of guys in it, and Rosalind's sister Geraldine, I remember. And we were doing Ed McKenzie
Okay.
here, and I was a little kid, and I was always a little talkative guy. When they said, "Well, you want to talk?" And I started talking. Oh yeah, my name's Joe Harris, and and I live in the Brewster Projects, and my manager's name is this over here, and this is his phone number, and I was giving all that information out.
Being a professional again.
Yeah, and the next day we got a phone call, and it was Rosalind and her group, and they called, and they came and became a part of the whole scene with the guy that was helping us to do
wow.
what we're talking about doing. He had about 4 or 5 groups that he was handling and managing.
Wow.
And so they came, and he cut the group down to a female group, and had Gene Williams, who was with them before when they went to Motown, and before Martha was in the group, and then Martha became the lead of that group. And and as my mom pulled me out, but when I'm at home and I'm listening to the radio and I hear Marvin Gaye and Can I Get, and I'm hearing the Vandellas, I was like, oh, them girls there. Yeah, so I say, and I started connecting what I was doing with the time and how it affects other folks, and so I have coming back here, and just to see them here still performing, and Annette was away from the group for a while, and now she's back with them. So and it makes me think. I was like, you know what? Somebody upstairs know what they're doing.
Yeah, and they sound good. Because they were on a show with us not too long ago.
That's what I'm talking about.
And I was like, well, they still sound. One thing that I really like when I first heard you, I was like, he still sounds the same. But hearing those singers that inspired me back then still sounds so good.
Right. That's
the
right.
Floaters were on a show we did not too long ago, and oh my God, they blew me away. I'm like a fan all over again.
See?
Cancer, and my name is Larry.
And I'm from Detroit. See, and that's what, let me tell you something. Marlon McNichols, I met Marlon McNichols, and he was Edwin Starr's manager and the gospel singer. Fred Hammond and the commission. Marlon's been around. He was like one of the very first national black promotion men for Atlantic.
Okay.
And we do a lot of things together today. And he was telling me, listen, there is always a commodity bigger than the commodity that you got.
Oh.
He said, and being back in Detroit, he said, when you put the two commodities together, he said, you got something that nobody else got. He said there's something special about Detroit, and if you can break out in Detroit and be out waving your flag, he said, look at all the flags that have been waved and all the folks that have came into Detroit and waved the flag from George Clinton to Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
Tammy Terrell, Gladys Knight. You know, everybody come and get some of this Detroit.
Right.
The OJs had
Come
some
get
Detroit.
some of these memories. Isn't that
Yeah,
Martha's song?
so let's come and get them. You know,
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so that is those are the things that we're looking forward to embellishing on next year. We're going to be a little bit more involved in the community as far as being able to communicate, to reach out to people, and to offer our assistances and have programs so that, you know, the youngsters can be a part of something, you know, and we can
Connect people, connecting the resources.
That's it.
That's my goal for next year, is to be able to connect the resources.
We can do that.
Young people with the seasoned people.
Yeah, we can do
I ain't
that.
gonna say old. We're gonna say seasoned people.
Yeah, we can
And
do that.
community to community to bridge the
Community,
gap so that
community.
we can get this thing going
We can do that.
again, like it should be. And our music city, Detroit, Motown,
Motown,
Rock City.
and Rock City.
Rock
If they want to try to change it, but you know,
No.
we'll always be
It's-
D-Town or Motown.
You know,
so
and that was the thing. I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
I digress. However, when I was at Dime, I kept hearing the Rock City, Detroit Rock City come and play in my head again, and they were saying it, you know, and I was like, yeah, but we got to remember that the source came from somewhere. So, Detroit City. Music city,
Right.
And that's what I call it, a music city, because it's unlimited. We have jazz, we have everything here.
Gospel.
For people, gospel.
Everything.
I mean, it's
Anything
heavy.
created in music, that's what we all about. You know, I mean, in Ray Charles, I tell everybody, I say, you know what? If we had a gig and I did a gig when I first went to Dayton, Ohio. And I was singing with the Ohio Untouchables, and then the Peps. The guys in the Peps went home. I was still in Dayton. And the guys in the band, they would have gigs on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday nights.
Those are good gigs.
Little gigs.
Silent gigs.
And I sang with them one night, and the guy from the other side of town in the little white club, because I did a Elvis Presley song.
Oh, here we go.
Suspicion. So, and he said, well, I got this club over there. Can you come by and do this date? And he had a band. And I was like, shoot, I'm here. I ain't working. I need to make some money. Yeah, I can do it. So I went over there and I learned me about 6 or 7 those in-between songs, you know, and plus the stuff that I did, you know. And shoot, they was trying to get me to come over there every Monday. But, you know, they started hee-hawing over there. You know, Ohio at that time. I'm from Detroit. I had no idea about the climate there. And just coming from that side of the city back over to where Germantown, where I was going, I mean, I was harassed. Oh, Lord have mercy. But you know what? I availed myself to do some. I call it a little country western, but I made the gig work by sticking blues in there. And this guy asked me one time, said, when you had time to have the blues? I say, when I was 2. I had the blues ever since I was 2.
Since I could understand what the blues was about, I had the blues. But yeah, so we're going to keep celebrating our lovely city here, Detroit. Music City, and that's what I'm gonna call it. 'Cause that's what I see. It's all encompassing.
It's got an M on it.
Although everything comes and goes, you know, we have different things that come and go. The motor companies and all these different organizations that come and go. The one thing remains is the music, and the people, which is the heart and soul of the city, Detroit. That's right.
That's right.
Joe, is that it for us today?
Lemon burn on out.
I'll let this guy right here, man.
Well, we got to, we got to push. We got to keep this building going.
That's
so
right.
we don't.
Well, Lemon Burn is one of our sponsors, and you guys may wonder why we talk about Lemon Burn so much. And it's really, for me, it's because it's effective. But when you have people that believe in something so much, as a station like WHPR, they push the Lemon Burn because it's necessary. They sponsor us because they believe in the dream. And dreams are what it's all about. Am I correct, Joe?
That's right. Got to have a dream.
That's right. Lemon Burn helps to keep you healthy. It helps to flush your system. You warm up 4 ounces of it in the morning and drink a little bit before your first meal. You go work out a little bit. Come back before lunch. You warm up a little bit more, make 4 ounces again. Drink it.
It works.
It works. It does work.
It works.
So, you guys, call into the station WHPR. Try to see about getting you some Lemon Burn. It's really, really good. It lasts you.
It does.
Even when you stop taking it, you still feel the effects of it. So
It makes you want to go back and get some more.
right. I just suggest that you try it. Joe said he's going to try it.
I'm going to
today.
try it.
So yay, we're going to do it together.
If I
right,
do it
Joe?
together, yeah, then maybe we can make a commercial out of it. You know, we can do it.
Joe said he want to do a commercial.
Yeah, let it go to the commercial and, to speak for itself.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you guys for hanging out with us today. We appreciate you so much, and thank you for watching and spending your time with us on every Thursday at 11 to 12. And we want to wish you guys a very, very happy holiday. You guys stay safe and warm.
Please.
Yes, stay safe and warm. And we will see you, I guess, will that be the New Year, Joe? We have one more week after the holiday?
We have a week after the holiday.
Yeah, we'll see you the week before
New Year's.
Yes. Moving into 2020.
We'll talk about going into the new year.
Yes. Do me a favor. Don't talk about it. Be about it.
Be about it.
We'll see you next year. What's up, Detroit?